I always thought that was more than 4.5 inches.
Did you?
I've been saying that for years. Hello, welcome back to Crack School. It's me, Pete. We are on a different style this time, aren't we?
Yep, have listened to your comments, and we're just going to make the Crack Schools a little bit more, I guess, conversationally between me and Tom. Give a little bit more information and a little bit longer, just so you're getting more for your money, which you're not even paying, so it's free, isn't it?
They can't complain, Pete.
Yeah, no, they can't complain.
They cannot complain.
They cannot.
Me, you, a crack,
Yeah.
and a load of technique.
Yeah. The intro is too long again, though.
No, I think that's a great intro. Do you think that's a good intro? Let us know if you think that's a good intro.
Let us know.
Pete, we did have comments about this.
We did have comments about the
Poor intro quality.
Poor intro quality.
We need to put some value into our intro.
Yeah. What is value?
Okay, here's some value for the intro. We are doing today in this video how many inches is that?
It's probably like 4.5 to 5, isn't it?
I always thought that was more than 4.5 inches.
Did you?
I've been saying that for years. So this for me, and this is different from Pete, is a hand fist stack option. So this one in particular, I'm going to do a bit more of the demoing, and Pete is we're going to kind of discuss what we do with this size of crack, and we're going to go through the hands and the foot and leg techniques for it, just so you can see how we kind of put the two together and we combo it so we can climb on this size of crack. Have you come across many, would you say?
Of this size?
Yeah.
I have come across quite a lot. It's quite like this style is probably quite a lot in the desert, isn't it? You know, like the splitter cracks.
It's like Big Baby, I think, and
something like that.
And they're typically 5'11". I'd say this is classic.
This is like 5'11".
Yeah, 5'11" off-width territory, knee locks, stacks, but get your technique right.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually just going to mention one thing before you start showing the techniques, but we're going to be talking about inside body parts and outside body parts. So when we talk about our hand fist stack and our knee and our outside foot, we'll just mention it as an inside body part and an outside body part. And in a different video, we'll come onto those of how they enable you to move. So it's really important to know which is the inside, which is the outside, because we'll come onto that in another video. So we're going to look at an inside body part, and Tom's going to show some hand fist stacking.
Oh, that's me now. That's me. Okay, so hand fist stack. On one side of the crack, you're going to be putting a hand jam position, and on the other, you're going to be using a fist. And first of all, it's important to note that you don't want to put the back of your hand, in most cases, against the outer edge of the crack and placing the fist inside of it. You want to put the palm.
Always palm.
Palm on one side. It's more comfortable, and it kind of works better in terms of how your arms and your elbows fit into the crack. So for me, I'm going to place my hand jam as thin as possible, so same kind of principle as when I'm sliding into a hand crack. I want to get a low profile. I'm going to then judge with my fist in terms of the kind of the width and how that fits into the crack. So at the moment, with a really thin hand and my fist placed into the crack, I've still got like a lot of slippage there, and my fist can't get any wider. I mean, I've clenched it as tight as I can, so it's totally rigid. And from that point there, that's where I'm going to start to really brace and try and tuck the thumb in, finger bar across the crack, and create tension in that hand fist jam. Do you think there's anything important about the sort of like the height of the fist for you?
I think one important thing when you're setting the hand fist is to make sure I always say, think about it as one unit. So rather than like pulling on the hand or pulling on the fist as a thing, or using the fist as a chock to like put the hand jam behind, or vice versa. It's like you're imagining it as one thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like
pulling equally on.
It's pulling
both parts,
equally on
isn't it?
both. So when you put it in, you need to be like tensing everything at once and pulling through it all at once. That's what I would say with that.
Yeah. No, I would agree in this case. I hate to agree with you. Guess we've climbed a few cracks, haven't we?
Yeah.
So, hand over, thin, fist in, then I'm starting to tuck that thumb in, finger barring across in the crack, and it's at that point there, I get a pretty good jam but I'm pulling equally on both sides.
Yeah.
I can swap it round so that I come with a palm on one side and a fist on that side. And I can also flip it up this way and bring the fist so that it points palm outwards.
Yeah.
I quite like using this for
this is a good one.
like really long moves where I'm trying to get my knee really high in the crack.
You can pull in on your bicep, and it's it's like, I don't know, it just feels like quite.
Yeah.
It's quite good. Yeah.
It's like a inverted fist, or same again for like hand jamming is putting a thumbs up so you can get really low down towards your waist, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Just a longer move.
Yeah. And I think with the positioning of that, you were just saying about the positioning, weren't you? I think, what do you reckon? It's sort of like, you don't want to be too stretched out, but at the same time, you don't want to be too bunched up down here, because if you're too bunched up, like you're really locked off, and then you end up wanting to sort of like come away from the wall, and then all your weight is leaning out. And then if you're too high up, you can't like get the jams correctly. It's like a happy balance in between of where you want it.
Yeah. And it's definitely a case of, I've had it a few times on a route where I've had a knee lock in and I've tried to reach really high above my head here, and I get caught up with my head between my elbows.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, just in this total nightmare situation where you can't move. So it is, I feel like it's always here to there. That's
exactly,
more or less perfect range.
Yeah, because when you are like that, it closes. And remember that route in Vidavoo, where it's the crux. The crux was doing this. Done.
That's back in the days when you had smaller biceps as well.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So combo feet. What we're doing with feet?
Oh, the feet. Yeah. That was the hands, and then the feet. Yeah. So we should actually just talk about, if we're placing the hand fist stack, then sort of which leg we want to put in with which hand fist stack we're placing. So if we're putting like a hand fist stack in that way, that is pulling your left shoulder into the crack, which means you're going to want your left leg in the crack. Once we've set our stack, we want to set our inside leg, and on this size of crack, we're going to use a knee lock, which is basically, it's like cheating, really, isn't it? What do you say?
Yeah, but cheating in a good sense.
Yeah, cheating in a good way.
Mostly cheating and climbing is the sort of stuff that we go for.
That we do, yeah. I mean, everybody thinks offwidthing is like burly and really hard and awful, but all you're essentially trying to do is create no hands rests all the way up the route. That's brilliant. So a knee lock is essentially a no hands rest. And what we want to do, we want to stick to our like sort of principles of crack climbing, and we want to get our leg sort of like in a thin dimension. So if we end up bending our leg, we can see all this sort of like expands. So if we go into like this way, insert our leg into the crack like this.
So you
can do it. Yeah. Smash it in.
So inserting leg
straight.
Yep.
And you're basically getting as far in as you can, and then keeping this part of your leg, so like Tom's thigh here, keeping that exactly where it is. He's just going to bring his lower leg out the crack, and then when it's on the outside, you can see we have this like froggy foot action. So you can either go, I can't say one way is better than the other because everybody has their preference, but you can either go foot like this or foot like that. It really just, it's preference really, isn't it? Like, it's 50-50.
And I'd say, like, I used to do it like doing it a lot more this way, but I've changed to this way more.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like as my ankles have got stiffer as I've got older, they don't like going the other way, because I was just thinking then, I can see Pete's about to pick up my foot and move it out of position. Oh my goodness, this is not going to work out well for me. No. But yeah, like that's definitely a bit stiffer for me. So I think you're, older. I'm going to class myself into the older generation these days, Pete.
40.
Once you're 40 and beyond, you might want to look to the inside foot. But it really helps lock the foot in on the edge of the crack. Yeah. And I remember when I first learnt this technique, and it was whilst we were in America on that first offwidth trip, and I went, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
This really helps.
Yeah, as soon as you sort of like rotate that foot, then it helps. And basically when you're in that position, so you brought your leg out, and then to actually sort of make it work, you do just need to drop a little bit of weight down onto it.
Yeah, so that's my starting position there.
Yeah.
And then I have to sit down.
Yeah, sit down, and then can you hold that?
Yeah. Like that.
He's in. Easy. No one's rest. I mean, that's what offwidth is about. Just no one's resting all the way, isn't it?
It's a little bit uncomfortable.
That's why we do it.
Like, it's a good thing to point out that when you put this lock in, it's not going to feel, you know, I don't ever feel like a knee lock is as comfortable as a hand jam.
No.
And that's why it's good to wear things like jeans and corduroys and you know, good bulky trousers rather than your skinny lycra 80s look.
Do you think you could hang off a hand jam longer than a knee lock though?
No.
No.
This is more mechanical.
This is more mechanical, yeah.
Yeah. What about the question that me and you have had to answer a few times in panic, and people always ask us, getting out of it?
Getting out of it.
Yeah.
So getting out of it is actually really simple. You just have to reverse what you've done. It really is as simple as that. But people just get really confused with that concept, don't they? And they're like in this position, locked, and they're like, it's stuck, and then they're like trying to pull it out, and it's like, well, you're locked. That's why it's called a knee lock.
Yeah.
So literally just like bringing the foot back round to the front.
So back in, side.
Back in, yeah.
Extend it out.
Extend it out, and then we hope now
that it comes out. Ta-da. I would add to one point to that though, is that when you get to that point where you're inside, you were previously committed, you brought your foot forward so it's extended out beyond 90 degrees, it's quite often you've actually sort of like sat down on the material on your trousers and the kind of, in your skin inside the crack. So what you often have to do is actually just push like that with your hips up by, it feels like 2 or 3 inches, but it just sort of releases the stuff that's kind of got trapped in the crack a little bit. So don't panic if you get all the way to this point and you're going, oh, it's still stuck, I can't get it out. It's just get that other foot in and push up on it, and then you'll be out.
Yeah, good knowledge.
Last thing, outside?
Yeah, last thing, outside foot. We should show like the awkward one to get in, maybe. This one.
Yeah,
because I think that's the
old
best.
frog foot.
Frog foot, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to demo that with my old man hips?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Old man hips.
So I'll get in. So I've got into my.
So in the knee lock.
My knee lock.
Yeah. And then the key here is we're going outside foot. This is the outside foot, and we're going for go for heel into the crack first. So this part here. This part here into the crack first, and then we're going this part of the foot here, which you can see Tom's on here. This part of the foot is pushing up and out into this crack wall. So we're pushing out there and then like that.
And I always think one of the things about this situation here is that you've really got to get quite flexible in terms of frog position.
Yeah.
Like this is definitely pushing on the limits of my flexibility to be able to open out. And it would be much more comfortable for me on that bottom foot if the crack was a little bit wider and I didn't have to frog quite so aggressively.
Yeah.
So it sounds weird that you would do this before an offwidth, but going and warming up and actually making sure that you can open your hips out before you go on an offwidth of this size, I think is really, really worthwhile, because I found myself a few times where I've thought, I don't think I have the range of movement for this.
And also, to also help you get your foot and your leg into that like open out position, if we imagine Tom was facing this way and looking into the crack, and now he's trying to turn his foot out, try and turn it out from that position.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible. So if we go like that with our whole body and move our body around, so we're actually like looking along that way, rather than looking into the crack, then that just automatically opens the hips a little bit as well. And
that's another reason as well, Pete,
Yeah.
why, if you're really extended up and you're really turned into the crack, your torso's really turned in. So that's why you need to be able to just open out a little bit more and give yourself a bit more space with the arms so that you can open your body out.
Yeah.
And then you can put that bottom leg in.
Yeah.
Really, really important.
And I think
it's subtle.
Yeah, the frogging foot at the bottom that's like key for you know, if you can get that good, then it's going to make your off-widthing life easier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. So last thing, I think in terms of that technique that we just talked about is that once you've got your foot out into that frogging position, you've got the inside knee in, is that the outside foot is your pushing action, which allows you to go up in the crack. Because ultimately, we find these jamming positions, which are kind of like the rests, aren't they? That you can take, you know, recover, you can move your knee lock or your stack around, but you do need to push up in the crack, and the upward motion is done through that outside frogged and jammed foot.
Yeah, I concur.
Should I do a little demo of the kind of the full sequence going up it?
Smash on, yeah.
Few moves
Yeah, a few
linked
moves.
together?
Yeah.
If I can get up it.
Give it a go.
Come out of off-width retirement. So,
Come off with retirement.
outside foot there. And then from there, I'm going to bring my foot in so that I can move my knee lock up, because I couldn't have moved my knee lock up if my foot was out. I'm going to lock that. I'm going to move my stack up, and then I can move that bottom foot a little bit higher. I'm jamming it in again. I'm releasing that inside foot and pushing up. So really working that bottom foot. Then lock that foot again. I can take my hands off. I can move up to higher up in the crack, and I can continue.
Smashed it. No bother. Oh, goodness.
Okay, thought I had my knee in there for a second. Is that blood? We've probably taken up 15 minutes of your time, but we have taught you how to climb on the best side. Well, no, I think it's one of the best
Yeah, I
off-width
think it's
sides.
the best off-width sizes, yeah. Yeah, if you get the technique right, then you can nail it and you feel like an off-widthing hero, and it's not really that hard.
Click to subscribe if you want more of this content and you like it. Let us know in the comments whether you do want this longer form, kind of more chatty style between me and Pete. And otherwise, we hope to hear from you very soon, and we'll produce more videos.